Hey fam, it's your boy Isaac. This time around I got a video for you on how to smoke brisket. Now brisket's one of those things where it seems very difficult to do, and it's true. It's a very diva meat, as in if the conditions aren't perfectly right, you could either have a really good brisket or you could have beef jerky. I'm not an expert in this. I'm just a dummy who's watched one too many YouTube videos on how to smoke things. I don't even have my own smoker. A buddy of mine left a smoker at my place, and I'm not sure if he knows I'm doing this video. My last video got like 32 views, and I don't think one of those views is from him, so I think we're good. Brisket is one of those things. It's a cheap cut of meat, and of course the best way to cook it is to do it low and slow. So I'm gonna go over with you some of the things that I do to prepare brisket. Now again, I am not an expert. I'm not an expert smoker or pit master. I'm not a butcher or anything like that. I'm just a guy who likes to eat, and brisket's one of those things that I enjoy eating. So as you see here, I got about a 12-pound brisket. What you want to do is you want to trim off the fat. As you can see, there's certain portions here that are, it's like a big chunk of fat. You don't want that. What you want to do is you want to leave a layer of fat about a 1/4 inch thick. Now if you end up getting down to the meat, that's fine. Don't worry about it. It's not the end of the world. The reason why you want to trim off a lot of this fat is because you're not going to be able to render this down, because we're going to be cooking this low and slow for a long time. And for seasoning, I'm just going to go with simple salt and pepper. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy. Again, you kind of want the flavor of the meat to kind of come through. What you want to do is you want to put this back in the fridge. I'm going to let this cure for maybe about a couple of hours. If you could do it overnight, that's even better, but I don't have that type of luxury. I don't have that type of time. Now this is going to be the hardest thing to do, because in my beginning days I used to just slap the brisket on there as soon as I saw a blazing fire, or you could get a charcoal fire going on. You put the meat on there. No, what you want to do is you want to maintain a consistent temperature. That's going to be the most important thing. As you see here, I got chunks of wood here that I got at a local hardware store. I like using wood just because I find that it's easier for me to kind of maintain a more consistent temperature using wood instead of charcoal. Now I have used charcoal, like lump chunk charcoal, and that's worked very well too. I also got some wood chips, and these wood chips add a little bit more aroma, add a little bit more flavor to the meat. And this is Jack Daniel's wood chips. It's made out of old Jack Daniel's barrels. And I love this stuff. I use it for, anytime when I smoke something. As a former alcoholic who used to drink a lot of whiskey, this is heaven to me. The way I like to do it, I like to give myself at least a couple of hours prior to smoking to get the wood temperature going. Now I know some of you might be going, oh, that seems like a long time. That seems like a waste of time. But, I'm not a professional. This isn't even my smoker. I don't have a charcoal chimney. I spent all my money on the wood and on the brisket. And I'm not a famous YouTuber, I'm a broke YouTuber. So you can see here some of the flaps that I cut off. I'm gonna be smoking it with the brisket, but I won't be smoking it for as long. I'm gonna be smoking it for only a couple of hours, and I'm just gonna use this to kind of chew on during the day. And from here on out, literally, all it is just maintaining that fire. The good thing about smoking low and slow for a long time is, I get to relax, and once in a while I'll check up on the fire, reading one of my favorite books, trying to look academic. And just hour by hour, you're going to be checking on this fire. You're going to be stoking the fire. And after about 3 hours, as you can see, these little chunks here, and these are actually pretty good. Like, those Jack Link's beef jerky, it's kind of thick and juicy. It tastes kind of like that, except 100 times better. And here's another thing about smoking meats and barbecuing. You just never know what's going to happen. So it's about midnight right now, and because this is Maryland, it decided to rain pretty heavily. I know you probably can't see that, but it's Maryland weather. A couple hours ago, weather forecasted it was going to be clear, but as you can see, it's not. It's raining pretty hard. But that's what you expect living in Maryland. You could experience all 4 seasons in one day. Yeah, so this is just the beauty of smoking. You always run into little challenges here and there, and this is what I love about barbecuing, because you just gotta find creative solutions. So what I did in this case is I just kept a live fire going to be able to keep that temperature consistently roughly around 225. And immediately after it stopped raining, the live fire brought the temperature up to about 350 to 400 degrees, which is a huge no-no. So I just had to open up the vents and just kind of let all the heat and the air out, and just kind of, you know, take it, you know, 1 minute at a time, like literally 1 minute at a time, just to keep that steady temperature. It's about 2:30 a.m. right now. I don't want to be too loud because the neighbors are sleeping. And here's the thing about smoking, especially when you're smoking overnight. You start to question things. You start to hear things that in the night that you don't normally hear during the day, but you know, like when it's this really early hours in the morning, I'm talking about like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., there's this very odd sense of calm. So it's about 4 a.m. and smoking the brisket for about 10 hours now. No. 8 hours? I forget. I started at 8 p.m. Now it's 4 a.m. You do the math. And this is the beautiful part of this overnight smoke. I get to see the sunrise, the birds chirping. And you know you're in your home stretch. And I decided to go with the Texas crutch method here just because I'm not cooking for professionals. I'm not in any competitions. I'm cooking for my mom and her friends. They're not gonna know the difference. And I'm sorry that this is so hard to see. I filmed this in the dark and I don't have professional equipment. And so I put in the foil and let it cook for another 4 to 5 hours. And then after that was done, I put it in an ice box, wrapped it in a towel. I'm letting this bad boy rest for about another 2 to 3 hours. And the beautiful thing is, as the meat's resting, it's my time to rest after taking a nice, long shower. Now, as you can see, the brisket, you got that beautiful bark. You got that juice. The juice is loose. I don't know about you guys, but when I cook, I usually cook for somebody. Now, of course, I cook for myself, but when I'm cooking for somebody else, you know, I like to put in the time and the effort to cook something. Now, I'm not a professional cook. You know, I would consider myself an amateur at best. You know, like I said, I like to watch a lot of YouTube videos on recipes and all that stuff on how to make things. And one of the things that I learned how to do was brisket. And here's the thing, the first couple of briskets I made were terrible. They were like beef jerky. And then a couple briskets after that, it was starting to get there. And eventually I feel like I got a method that works for me. And the best way to learn how to make briskets is go out there and make mistakes. It's just like cooking, just like life. You just go out there and make mistakes. Now I know some of you go, is it worth it to pull an all-nighter smoking a chunk of meat? For me, yes, it's worth it because here I am feeding my mom and her friends. And you know, I'll go into great detail why I'm back at my parents' house, why I'm here in another video, but this is the beautiful thing about smoking brisket for me, and I think this is the beautiful thing about barbecue. It's not about just taking cheap chunks of meat and making it delicious somehow, but it's also just putting in that time and the effort, sacrificing that time and that effort, and just making the best product you can just to bless those around you and to feed those you love. Alright, peace guys. God bless.